second stage of labor. When the urge comes, it is important to know how to push. There is a right and a wrong way to push. So it's important to know, even though at the time you might kind of be like, oh, okay, remind me again how to do this. But if you do have the natural urge, it really just, then it's not a big deal. But there too, one time I'll tell you that as we get into that. But pushing the wrong way, prolonged Valsalva, holding breath and bearing down hard for longer than you feel comfortable. That is talking about the prolonged Valsalva, which you don't want to do that. That is the wrong way. This kind of pushing leads to a decrease in blood being returned to the lungs for reoxygenation. A decrease in blood being returned to the lungs for reoxygenation. This leads to a decrease in oxygenated blood leaving the lungs. This leads to a decrease in oxygen available to the baby. Did you get all that? Okay, number 2. Too much blood being forced into the Valsalva pushing causes too much blood being forced into the face, head, arms, and legs, which leads to a decreased blood flow to the placenta and therefore to the baby. Number 3, a decrease in oxygenated blood leads to an increase in carbon dioxide levels, which causes stress, panic, and gasping for air. This leads to a sudden increase in blood pressure and the overfilled capillaries in the face, neck, and eyes bursting. Okay, just to explain a little bit about that. Valsalva pushing is, you end up pushing that way when you don't exactly know how to push, like when you don't have the urge to push, and you don't exactly know what to push against. Like, somebody tells you, go ahead and push. Well, how do I push? And you end up kind of pushing in your head sometimes. I did that one time, and it was crazy. And I think I kind of did it because, well, I didn't have, number 1, I didn't have the urge, and number 2, I was like not really feeling like pushing. Like I was kind of scared to push because it was like, don't really feel like going through this. And so I just pushed it with my head kind of, but you end up like having all these like burst blood vessels, and my face, I looked like I had measles. Like after the baby was born, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh my word, like it was all polka dotty purple because it was pushing the wrong way, the Valsalva pushing. And yeah, all the blood just goes into you, and you get the bloodshot eyes and all the, so that happens when you're not bearing down. So it's not really, I mean, it can happen, but if you, just know ahead of time. I really gotta, I don't want to push with my head. I don't want to, like, blow up like a balloon. Like, you know how you can just hold your breath and blow, and it's kind of like you're blowing up a balloon. You don't want to do that. You want to push as if you're going to the bathroom. Because, like I talked about, it does it that way. When the baby's not getting oxygen, the baby's not getting air if you push like that. This can also lead to your baby fainting in the birth canal, so that the baby needs immediate attention as soon as it is born. Okay, number 2, pushing the right way. Experience rectal pressure and feel baby move down. Your uterus is a very strong muscle. It is a really, really strong muscle, and it labors your baby down. 2, positions for pushing. Upright for pushing. Being upright is the best way for pushing. Lying down is not really. If you think about pushing, it's the same way as when you go to the bathroom. So being, for the most part, women like to be kind of like it is like when you're on the toilet, because then you kind of feel like naturally you feel everything, the sensations of going, like your muscles relax, like we talked about, like, when you have to go to the bathroom really, really bad. and you start going into the bathroom door, and all of a sudden you're like really having to go because your muscles know that you're there and you're going to be sitting down. When you sit down in that position, your muscles automatically know what to do. It's kind of the same way when you're having a baby and you sit on the toilet. And that's a lot of times when women sit on the toilet, that's where they have their really strong contractions. And because that's what's going on. Their muscles are relaxing and their body is saying, oh, I know what to do. And it just everything, that's where you have a really, really strong contractions. And then again, it's a really good position to have a baby because you just kind of automatically know what to do there. So there are birth stools. And that is something, did we talk about birth stools at Women's and Babies?
Well, Sandra was telling me about
Oh, okay, right. Usually I don't see them there, but this one midwife had one. So you might want to check, like ahead of time, asking if they have one available. If they would just have one there in the room for you, or ask what, when we're there. Is that something you want to try? I really do recommend at least some of the pushing on there, just because it really gets you to have a feel for it. It's not, because if you think about it, if you're like kind of laying down or in bed, try to think about how it would feel to go to the bathroom when you're laying down, or when you're, kind of in bed, like you don't know how to go to the bathroom there because you don't normally do that. So that is, that's why it's really neat. And there too, they say, well, let's go push on the toilet for a while, which is a good idea, but in the mama's mind, a lot of times we're like, but what if my baby falls in the water? Like, that kind of freaks you out because you're like, I don't know what's going to come out. What is it? I don't want it to fall in the water. So it is really, good to have a few options and to have a birth stool there in case that would be something that you would want.
Now, when would you tell them that?
We could early on before pushing time, yeah. Because now I know they have, that there is one there. I never knew there was, so I never even asked before, but now I'm like, I don't know if it was just this one midwife that had one, but she's like, oh, I have one. And so I think, between all the midwives there, they could make one available. So, yeah, just to have the option would be a good idea. Yeah. So we were, okay, squatting. We're talking about different positions for pushing. Squatting opens up pelvis by an inch or more, allows gravity to do some work for you. Again, the squatting is just getting down, like really a deep squat down as far as you can, which actually opens up your cervix an extra inch. Like it's almost like 11 centimeters then. It gives you extra room. And you can squat on the bed, you can squat on the floor. There's different, you're really not confined. You don't have to be confined to the bed. You really don't. If you know your options, it's so much better. Hands and knees is a great way to have the baby. On the bed, you can totally flip around and go on your hands and knees. Hands and knees is actually a good position because it will decrease the risk of tearing as well on your hands and knees. And a lot of times you have the grip there, so it is a good position. Side lying is a good position too if the baby is coming quickly. If the baby's coming kind of fast, go on the side to decrease tears, or if the mom is really exhausted. Laying on the side, kind of pulling the one leg up is also a good position to birth. And a birth stool. Okay, here talks about a birth stool. When you have the urge to push, wait until urge becomes involuntary. Labor your baby down, just what we had talked about. Do not tighten your muscles around your baby's head. Drop or loosen your jaw. Tight mouth, tight perineum. Again, just have your mouth, just don't pinch your mouth. Tend to have it relaxed and open. You want your perineum to be as loose and stretchy as possible. And again, the oil will help that as well. Short, grunty pushes at first. And moaning releases tension. How to push. When a contraction begins, take a deep breath or two. Okay, here comes the contraction. You deep breath. And then the next breath, you take another deep breath and hold it. And you hold it. Just like when you push, you don't really, you're not necessarily continue breathing when you're pushing. You hold your breath so that you put bear down. Push with your diaphragm and abdominal muscles. Push towards your rectum and the heat from warm compresses. And again, at this point in time, when you're ready to push, most likely we'll be doing hot compresses, which kind of gives you an idea of where to push toward, because you're feeling something there, so you know to push towards that. And this is a time when you kind of tell them, don't worry about anything. Sometimes your mind, you'd be like, what if I just pee or poop or something? Okay, if you end up pooping, it's never going to be much anyway. It is totally normal, so it's not a big deal. I know that can kind of freak
Yeah, she
some.
talked about that, right? She's like, what if I poop around my baby? I said, you're going to be fine.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's really never much because already you kind of cleaned out. And we just kind of get toilet paper, just pick it up and take it away. It's just kind of
Once you look at that point, you don't even care, and everything's kind of hanging over.
Whatever.
Whatever.
You might not even find out if you do either.